So let's walk over here and start eating some food, because I want you to taste this amazing food we have. And then I want you to, there's kind of a theme you're going to notice here, and it's one word called abundance. I cannot keep up with it. We're going to approach a little bed of strawberries, or 12 plants last year, that I'm trying to get rid of. And a lady came here yesterday with a truck with all these. I went down you'll see it, probably 1.5 feet, maybe 1 foot wide, and filled all of her buckets. Didn't phase a thing. And I'm sure I'm going to be hauling them to my chickens to compost because I can't get rid of them. And this was 12 plants last year. I'm just telling you, and I didn't water or fertilize.
Paul?
Yes.
The chip over here is fairly fine and consistent, and this stuff where they're parking is heavier. Did you sift it, or is that just?
No, what happened here is I had a big willow tree in front of my house, and these friends of mine that had this tree service, you'd have loved it. We're talking a tree, you saw that willow up, you saw how big that was? They chipped the whole thing. That chipper, man, ate that whole tree. Because I think, it's lousy, it's not good wood, it's all rotten system. Probably I had the wood chips, and they chipped the whole thing, man. It was awesome. And I want to cover this whole thing with wood chips because wood chips are just amazing, and I got tired, having to mow grass and mud is just not worth it. Yeah, so I'm glad you asked. See, these questions are really important. I want you to hear me. Questions are really important. You see, you're told in school and other places you go by agriculture people, you can't use certain kinds of trees like walnut and pine and cedar. They're toxic.
Right.
Eucalyptus. They'll just kill everything. So I asked the creator, you know what he told me? He says, I have no landfill somewhere off on the planet where I'm taking that stuff to get rid of. You're laughing. All that stuff falls in the ground and everything around it is growing quite well. And so because I'm slow, he helped me out. He has the tree service bring me a 10-yard truckload of walnut wood chips. Okay. We're talking the worst.
Black walnut?
No, yeah, black walnut. Okay. I think this is English walnut, but it's still walnut as walnut, and nothing grows in it according to the authorities. Nothing grows in walnut. So I'm in Squim, and it doesn't rain there, and this is August, and so I have a 4.5 foot raised bed. Are you hearing me? Raised bed. Somehow a walnut with the chipper didn't break, and starts growing out of the top of this 4.5 foot raised bed with no rain happening. And so I said, God, you have my attention. I'm not stupid. You have my attention. This is not supposed to be happening. 1, there's no water, and 2, this is walnut. Nothing grows in. I'm watching this thing grow, and it's not yellow, it's bright green. It's really looking good. In October, the thing was 3 feet tall, and my brother dug it up, and it was 3 foot of roots. He planted it in his yard. He's got a great walnut tree. So I got it that nothing is toxic. Nothing. You look in nature, everything falls in the ground, decomposes, and turns back to soil. And my sense is if there's something toxic on the way, nature in the composting process deals with it. You see, our problem is where you're getting this, if you go to college and spend money to go into debt to get an education, they'll tell you wood chips type nitrogen and make your soil acidic. You know what the pH in the woods is? 7.0.
Okay.
Really?
And I'm going to take you over here and show you where I'm growing lavender, which is an alkaline plant, right next to blueberries, side by side, and they're thriving because 7.0 is center and everything's happy there. I love the creator. He didn't miss anything. And he designed the landscape in such a way he would never have to show up to work. You're laughing. I'm just telling you, this is genius. This is genius mentality. And I am tracking, and I'm checking in, and I'm asking because I love the idea of not showing up to work and having results. It's just as awesome. It's just fun. And this is how he does stuff. And he loves sharing. He's very glad to share because he just is a good God. And he just loves, this is how you do it. It was so hilarious. You see this hydrangea over there? You see there's a hydrangea right over there. It's all kinds of little flowers on it getting ready to bloom. Right next to this, right in between the... Anyway, I had this PhD biologist come here a couple of years ago who was quite arrogant. He says, he wanted me to know he's a PhD biologist. And that what you're doing doesn't work. I love when people tell me what I'm doing is not working. And I enjoy it because I says, well, let's walk around and observe how it's not working. So when it comes to my celery over there, it's like 3 feet tall and it's like gorgeous dark green. He says, there's no way you get celery this big without fertilizer. I says, sir, I've never fertilized. I says, I don't believe you. I'm going to come back and test your soil. It comes back with a little black bag and test my soil. You know what the pH was in my wood chips? 7.0. And so I was a little bit angry now because this guy's telling me he knows everything and I don't. And so I says, come here, PhD biologist. Explain to me why my hydrangea, hydrangea, when the soil's acid, the flowers are blue. Right. If they're alkaline,
Flowers are pink.
they're pink. I says, PhD biologist who knows everything, explain to me why my hydrangea has at the same time in your face pink and blue flowers. And he's looking at me like, and he's quiet. I says, excuse me, you told me you know everything. You're a PhD biologist, and you're not talking to me? Well, I can tell you, I didn't go to school, but I know why that's that way. You just told me. 7.0 is center. And at that place, both happened.
Wow.
I love God. He's just awesome. And he made things so easy and simple and fun. Why not have two colors instead of one? You know, and why have to adjust? See, adjusting pH never lasts.
Yeah.
But 7.0 stays forever.
Yeah.
I tell you, man, he made things so perfect. And if we just check in and follow him around and watch what he does and copy it, we don't have to work. It all works for us. Because that's the design. That's how he made it, because he's good.
So you don't have to rotate anything?
Oh, I'm so
because
glad
your
you asked. I
soil is
intentionally,
balanced?
see, because I was raised in a Swiss-German culture. And I think
Oh,
that
they're very-
German part likes the idea of when people say you can't, like, really? And so I'm going to show you, I'm doing all of the things they say you can't. And so I intentionally plant the same thing in the same place every year, just because I want to. And can you all track with me? You're all going to laugh when you hear this. Do you see any crop rotation in nature? Plants go to seed in the same place year after year, decade after decade, century after century, and no one's moving them. And they're growing fine. Excuse me. And I got to rotate crops? I'm just telling you, man, get in your thinking. All of this stuff you're being told is coming from an influence that's from hell and is a liar. I'm being real. It's all lies. And its intent is to enslave you and make you dysfunctional, because that's his goal. And I'm not going there. I just love truth. Truth is so cool.
These chips look fresh over here, so you've added them.
Yeah, I mean, this guy can tell you, last year at this time, my orchard had weeds growing through my trees. We're talking, I'm not doing well, obviously, in moving, and so I couldn't keep up. And so I feel so blessed, because my orchard now is all covered with a fresh layer of wood chips. And it is an awesome condition. It's just like, it's like over the top amazing. And I'm going to be able to plant. See, I was intending on planting the whole orchard this year because I wanted to show the world how much you can grow in a small space. But now that I'm starting to do it, I'm realizing that I will never get around to it. It's going to be impossible to plant my orchard in a garden. And I want you to hear me. All my garden space, the orchard and the herb garden, is less than 1/2 acre. Less than 1/2 acre. And so what I want to get your attention. The reason we have large farms in the United States and Canada is because they're producing so little. I'm being real. They're producing so little because the ground is so deficient in life. Now let me just track with the simplicity of how nature just speaks to you. When do farmers fertilize? This is people who go to school, who go into debt to get an education on agriculture. When do they fertilize? Spring. How stupid. When you think about it. You see, you're planting a plant that's going to set roots in the ground. The fertilizer's not going to get there in time. It's behind it. You know when the Creator fertilizes? Every fall. If you notice in the fall, he puts a layer of needles and leaves over the whole planet. And then he does an amazing thing in the winter. He causes a lot of rain and snow to go through that composting material to create compost tea to build the soil for next spring's growth. I'm just telling you, you start tracking with how he does stuff, you just blow, and he uses gravity to do all the work. He doesn't have to show up to work, gravity does it for him. So today, if anybody in agriculture is aware that compost tea is a rage. It's the finest fertilizer on the planet, everybody knows that. And people pay for it. And they're out there watering their gardens with compost tea they paid for. The second or third watering, because gravity works, it's gone. It's down below. The beauty of having compost laying on the ground like the Creator does, every time it rains, every time you water, you get a compost tea release, and so your plants 24/7, 365 days a year have a constant source of life-giving food and minerals. Is that awesome? And the beauty is it's all free. I'm just telling you, when you start tracking and observing and seeing how it works, you are blown away at the genius design. It's genius. It's just like, wow. And what amazes me is that we haven't been paying attention. It's not out there someplace, you know, it's right there. We're not looking because it's so simple. And I love simple, man. It's just so fun. It's just, you know, you can't get lost there. It's safe.
Those chips here are dark.
Now,
How long have they been exposed?
I found a place who had a big pile of this stuff way back behind their station. So I had a 15 yards brought here. See, I've been really motivated this year to get a new cover because I haven't done it for years. And so this is just it's been old, it's composted, and you saw when you're digging, this is just dumped here, and it's been dry. You can dig in that stuff. It's damp below. It's just, and you can see the stuff growing and how green it is. I'm just telling you, man, it's awesome. Yes.
Water. You don't water at all.
This orchard, and I want you to look at the color of the foliage of the trees as you walk by and you go through it. You look at the color of that foliage. Farmers who foliar feed have nothing close to that. I want you to look at the foliage on those sequoia trees. Look at how bright green.
Tremendous, tremendous.
You know what's supporting those trees in this? You look under those trees, there's needles on the ground. Needles and wood chips are the finest fertilizer on the planet. There's nothing comparable. And here's a simple reason why. Track with me. As the plants take out of the soil minerals to create needles and leaves, every fall the Creator returns it to maintain balance. What's taken out is returned. Where farmers, in their arrogance, think they can rip the cover off the soil, mine the soil with plants, and put chemicals back and you're okay. I'm being real. For you older ones, you can all relate to me. The food today doesn't taste anything of what you grew up with. Not even close. And can I tell you the reality is, the flavor of the food indicates its nutritional value, period. If food tastes good, it is good. If it doesn't taste good, it's not. And see, the Creator created you all as intelligent beings. Did you hear me? You were created as intelligent beings, and He gave you taste buds for a reason. If food doesn't taste good, you shouldn't eat it. It's not good. And see, we went to school and they taught us to use condiments and dressings and sugar. You're laughing.
Mustard.
To make this dead, corrupted food palatable. And we bought it. I'm just being real. If it doesn't taste good, it's not good. You shouldn't eat it. Really. Why are you trying to mask this garbage with other trash that isn't good? I'm just telling you how we operate under the influence is utterly stupid, and we're not stupid. And you can see how it's completely wiped us out. And if you're paying attention to what's happening on the planet today, it's scary. Never in the history of the human race has disease been at the level it is today. Never. Never. For 6,000 years, the human race grew all their own food, lived remotely on the land, and did very well. In the Industrial Revolution, which didn't happen that long ago, discovered electricity, people moved into cities, came off the land, they created public school for daycare because it's not education, and we've lost everything. I was a child when the television was invented. We live in Los Angeles. In a community, we knew all of our neighbors, and we were all friends. We were in their houses. We just had a community. And on evenings in the summer when it's hot, we'd hang out on people's porches and just converse and play card games or board games. When the television happened, my parents didn't get one, and we're going to people's houses to hang out. Oh, we can't come out tonight. We got to watch this program. And I watched communities shut down. I watched it. I was there, and it shut down. Today in homes where children live with parents, they're not talking to them in the house. They're texting them in the house. I'm being real.
Living in the same room.
Same room. I want you to get what's going on is designed to destroy culture, destroy family. This is not accidental, it's intentional, and it's really working big time. And it's scary. And we've got to wake up to reality and come back to reality and start walking in truth.